Shalom Aleichem. A very exciting time to discuss in Yanei Pesach, right before Chag starts itself. And one of the questions we have to ask is, what are we doing at Leil Seder? What is the goal? What are we trying to accomplish? And when we analyze this question, we have the opportunity to look and to understand there is a particular and unique and specific goal that Chazal wanted for us on Leil Seder. It's not just a matter of we sit together and we read over a story that we read in the past. We don't just drink cups of wine whether we like it or not, or eat matzah that's either too crunchy or not crunchy enough for us. But there is a particular goal of what we're trying to accomplish. And these items, the HaGadol, matzah, and yayin, the wine, are supposed to facilitate that goal. So what is the goal? The Rambam says that in each and every generation, each one of us are supposed to see ourselves as having left Mitzrayim. That we ourselves were slaves once upon a time, and that we were freed. The question is, how do we get ourselves to feel that sense of freedom? It's kind of hard to conceptualize, even if you want to say, oh, we were there. We weren't physically there. We weren't actually located or present there in Egypt. So how do we get that sense of feeling? I can tell you in a very real answer, well, we have neshamos. And our neshama is a piece from Hashem, and Hashem, who is not bound by time, is and was and will be there. And therefore, we tap into that. We were actually in Mitzrayim. Our neshamas were in Mitzrayim. But for many of us, myself included, that doesn't always do it for us. It doesn't always help us feel that sense of we were in Mitzrayim. There is another statement by the Rambam as well as brought down in the halacha of the following idea. Matchilim begnut u'mesamim b'shavach. We start the Seder, we discuss areas that are begnut, that are the downward side, things that are darker members, the dark marks on our history, and we are Messiah. We finish b'shavach with praise. So there's a machlokas that arises. Two major questions we have to ask. A, what does this mean practically speaking? And B, what's the goal of that? The machlokas between Rabbi and Shmuel is as follows. Shmuel says, what does that mean? Matchilim mignut, mesamim b'shevach? We start off mentioning, once upon a time, we were slaves in Mitzrayim. That's what it means very practically speaking. That's a very dark mark for the Jewish people. How can this priestly nation, this holy nation, have been slaves? What's the shevach, though, according to Shmuel? What's the opposite of us having been slaves? It's the fact that we were taken out of Mitzrayim, that we're now free. That's the matchilim mignut, mesamim b'shevach. But Rav has a different answer. Rav has a different answer, a different approach. It's that once upon a time, Avram Avinu and his father Terach were Ovdei Avodah Zarah. They didn't serve Hashem properly. And therefore, that's the dark mark. That's the despair. That's the travesty of the Jewish people. That when we look back at our ancestors, we weren't Ovdei Hashem properly. But what's the praise then? What's the opposite of that? That when we left Mitzrayim, we were Ovdei Hashem. And as it's brought down in Masechtas Erchin and Masechtas Megillah as to why we say Hallel on Pesach, even though we were in Eretz Yisrael, it's because we left as Ovdei Hashem. Very significant. And if I had to ask us, how many of us know which answer the Gemara went with between the machlokas? Did they choose Rav or Shmuel's? The answer is, it chose both. Both are fundamental for Leil Seder. We have to realize that on one hand, it's unfortunate. We were Ovdei Avodah Zarah. It's a tragedy that we were slaves. But what's the praise? That we left. And not just that we left with a particular purpose. We became Ovdei Hashem. If I had to ask you, why would he do this? Why would he want this kind of duality of matchilim begnut u'mesamim b'shavach? Why would we want to go through this process? It's in order for us to facilitate this exact feeling of seeing that we ourselves were slaves in Mitzrayim. When we go through this, we can appreciate what Leil Seder is. How could I feel free if I never knew what slavery was? How could I feel a sense of being an Oved Hashem if I never knew what it meant to be an Oved Avodah Zarah? When we talk about our past and we try to understand what it was that they felt and what it was that they went through, then I have the ability to realize and see the praise of, wow, that was a hardship of the Jewish people. That was a tough time period. And how grateful and how thankful we can be that now we're no longer there. The goal is to be able to do this with a sense of simcha, to appreciate and truly be happy. And the only way to truly do this is with your friends, with your family together. When you go through as a group, as a community, not alone, through this process, We walk out at the end saying, wow, thank you Hashem for the gifts that you've given us. Thank you for having put us through this process so that way we can come out better. There are two words in Hebrew that are very similar. There's the word chofesh and there's the word cherut. As we say in Hatikva, liot am chofshi bi'artzeinu, it means to be a free people. And if you say zman cherutinu, like we say in Kiddush, it also means it's the time of freedom. So what's the difference between the two Hebrew words? They both mean freedom. As I've heard explained in the name of Rabbi Dr. Lawrence Jonathan Sachs Zatzal, as well as Soloveitchik Zatzal, is the following idea. Chofesh means, like we say for school, zman chofesh, vacation, winter break, freedom from my obligations in school. I don't have to work. I don't have to worry about those things. What's zman cherut? Freedom to. Freedom to what? Freedom to choose what I do. Here, the Jewish people, when we left Mitzrayim, it wasn't just that we left. It's also important that we left. You have to recognize, we have to see that we were freed. Very important. But we have a particular goal. To do what? To serve Hashem. And how should we serve Hashem? With that sense of simcha. And that together is the goal of Leil HaSeder. And that's why between the matzah and the yain, the haseba, reclining, the food, the drinks, the maror, we're trying to have this balance. And we were slaves, but we're freed. But remember, what's the overall goal? What's our purpose? Our goal and our purpose is to have left Mitzrayim, whether we are physical Mitzrayims that's surrounding us, or once upon a time ancient Mitzrayim, which is really the ideal, and to become free people. And with that, I conclude, Be'ezrat Hashem, we should be zocha to have a Leil HaSeder, a wonderful time with our friends and our families, where we end up the journey of leaving Mitzrayim and going free, and freedom to serve Hashem. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should do that with simcha. Have a great Chag Hashem Sameach. Have a great day.